There was a king at that time, these days is Afghanistan, Khurasan, Shah Alam. He sent one of his his children, to go to a nearby king who was oppressing certain Muslims in a certain land. He says, go and challenge him with your army. So he sent the prince. After a few days, the prince left with his army. The news came that the prince was defeated and he has fled from the battlefield and is returning home. So Shah Alam, naturally he was sad. He walks into his castle. His wife asked him that what had happened. He says the prince has lost the battle and he had fled from the battlefield. He is returning. So the mother said, no, this is not possible. This is not possible. My son can never do this. So the mother was adamant that no, it's not possible. So the king thought whether it's a motherly sentiment, let it be so. After a few days, they got the news that the prince was actually victorious and he did not flee from the battlefield. It was a strategy that he may have used. So the Shah Alam comes back to his wife and he says, why were you so persistent that it's not possible for my son to flee from the battlefield? She said, from the time I conceived him, from that day I made an intention not to eat any food from the palace. I would weave my own yarn, I would sew my own cloths, and I would send it to the bazaar and sell it. And the money that I would receive from there, I was 100% sure that is pure and halal. I would buy food with that money and I would consume it until I gave birth to him. And even then, the milk, the breastfeeding that I done to him was from the consumption of that money only, from that food only. I did not eat anything from your palace. And every time I would feed him, I would perform 2 rakats of salah and then I would feed him. This was the tarbiyat I made of my child. It's not possible. It's not possible for him to do a slightest wrong. How can he commit the greatest of sins from fleeing from a battlefield? That is why I knew that my son can never flee. He will give his life, but he cannot flee from the battlefield. This was the queens of the time. And today we just walk in the market and we just pick up anything and we start eating, we're consuming. We said, tell a brother, that chocolate you are eating, it might have a haram ingredient. They'll take a bite. Maulana, next time, I already bought it. This is the attitude we are showing. We are destroying our own iman, destroying our own amal. And more so in today's day and age, we need to be particular.